And I'm Patrick Simon. First tonight, a suspect has been arrested after a robbery on Charleston's west side this evening. 13 News reporter Jesse Schaefer spoke with investigators today, learning more details and why they say proper training prevented even more loss of life. Boone County Sheriff's deputies arrested a man for murder after they say he punched another man one time in the head. It happened around 7 last night along Printer Road in the Seth area of Boone County. New information tonight about the devastating impact of opioids on our teens. This from the National Institute on Drug Abuse. The number of children and teenagers hospitalized over the last 15 years due to opioid poisoning has nearly doubled. And most adults getting treatment for opioid drugs started using illicit drugs before the age of 18. While various forms of drug treatment are being offered, tonight our States of Addiction series continues as we follow 3 at-risk teenagers going through a 22-week military-style program in West Virginia to try to turn their lives around with a healthy dose of discipline.
We understand the capacity crowd here at the Civic Center is like 13,500. This place is just about filled up right now with 2 hours to go before the president speaks. And Mark, as you know, all eyes across the nation are looking at the U.S. Senate race featuring Republican Patrick Morrisey, who gets the endorsement from the president tonight, and Democratic incumbent Joe Manchin. So Team Morrisey really needs a big boost from Team Trump tonight. All right, Mark, looking forward to more of your coverage tonight. In the meantime, if you've seen these types of Trump rallies across the country, you know they are attended by thousands and thousands of supporters, but there are also plenty of opponents. And we have a number of them outside the Civic Center right now, and our team coverage continues of the president's visit with our own Adrian Robbins, who's listening to the voices of the people. Adrian.
Welcome to a special edition of 13 News. I'm Pat Simon. We're 75 West Virginia veterans from World War II, Korea, and Vietnam travel from West Virginia to here, Washington, D.C. It's a chance for them to see their memorials that were built in their honor. For many of them, it's one last mission. It's also a moment for them to reflect, to share their stories, and to heal. This $500 million ship was going to be built, but it didn't have a name yet. Until his grandson got involved about 3 years ago, made some calls to Congress, and then last January, the announcement came from the U.S. Secretary of the Navy. The USNS Herschel Woody Williams would finally be official.
I don't know that I can ever fully express how deeply I feel about this honor.
Well, Jennifer, this is obviously not the outcome that Richard Ojeda wanted in losing tonight to Carol Miller, the Republican in the race, you the Democrat in the race. What's your message to Carol Miller and as we go forward here?
Well, you know, I want her to do her job.
A lot of skiers getting ready for this. And don't forget, Mountain State skiing will also be available in Canaan Valley, Timberline, and Winter Place in the coming weeks.
We can't wait.
Yeah, there you see the lineup out there. Folks are about to kick off their annual 2018 Winter Wonderland of Lights Parade. Visitors coming from all across the country to see all of those lights.
Just in time for the holiday weekend, maybe.
No doubt.
And some football, too. And there's no love lost with some teams this weekend.
No.
Nearing the holiday season, kids are starting to fill out their Christmas list with all the games and toys that they can ask for. But for some kids, all they want is a good pair of shoes, and that is where Rack Room Shoes is stepping in. Each year, the store collects donations to buy Chamberlain Elementary students a new pair of shoes. And today, teachers and administrators got to walk through the store and pick out a few pair for their kids. In total, Rack Room donated almost $4,900 worth of new shoes. So what a wonderful thing. All those kids are going to get all those shoes in time for Christmas. A perfect night to have a parade, the Christmas Parade of Lights here. We were just talking to Bill Bissett, who's the president of the Huntington Regional Chamber of Commerce. Bill says over 100 entries will be here tonight. We're talking bands, folks. We're talking about tons of lights. A lot of organizations getting involved. Jennifer, as you know, Huntington is really, really a great city to host such a great parade. It's going to be a fun time tonight. And by the way, if you need some hot cocoa, some hot chocolate, right over my shoulder right there, Huntington's Kitchen, free hot chocolate until 6 o'clock tonight. And that's why the March of Dimes is so important to give a fighting chance for every baby. In fact, one West Virginia family had to lean on this important organization, not just for the birth of their child, but for their entire family's survival as well. We just found out the official date of the renaming of the VA hospital in Huntington for West Virginia World War II Medal of Honor recipient Woody Williams. just got this from his grandson, so save the date. Sunday, September 9th is when the official dedication and name change will take place, honoring this deserving hero, and we will be there. The full name of the hospital, Herschel Woody Williams VA Medical Center. Congratulations again, Woody.
Well done.
You can catch it right here on CBS. Romo's my man.
Yeah, Romo finally gets to a Super Bowl, huh?
Ooh. I love it. Oh, wow.
No, he
that's
didn't.
okay. My wife's a Cowboys fan. She'll understand the humor, or I might be out in the doghouse tonight. But a night like tonight, I'm in serious trouble.
It's going to be tough on him, by the way.
Think for a moment about the top historic events that happened over the last 100 years. Now imagine living through each one of them. Tonight, we introduce you to a one-of-a-kind hero who's celebrating a major milestone, 100 years in the making.
The old general says, "You probably will."
As we observe Veterans Day, there is new hope for treatment to help veterans who are battling with PTSD. Tonight, we're working for you with real solutions, and veterans are finally beginning to heal. Loy Nelson recalls the stress of being a combat medic in Afghanistan.
Things just kind of kick in and you go in action, and that's kind of how the ball rolls there. And that involved, actually finding IEDs, getting into some small arms fire here and there, a lot of indirect fire from mortars and rockets.
But while he was busy saving fellow troops, the horrifying images and multiple deployments started taking a toll on him.
More than 6 decades after the end of the Korean War, the U.S. is preparing for the remains of at least 200 of its service members killed in that conflict to finally return home.
And some tri-state families are hopeful that their loved ones are among those soon to be repatriated. Well, tonight, we introduce you to one of those families from West Virginia who has been waiting a lifetime for closure. Inside their family home in Sissonville, Joe Chandler and his wife Juanita sit and wait for Joe's younger brother Teddy to come home.
We was always close with each other,
The last time Joe heard his brother's voice,
I told him to take care of himself.
You know, that talk.
And
the kind of stuff big brothers tell their little brothers. When it may be their last talk.
Try to come home safe.
That last goodbye was almost 70 years ago. And that's when Joe was on his way back home after serving in Germany, while Teddy was heading out to fight in a new war, Korea. Private Teddy Ray Chandler joined the Army just a day after his 18th birthday in July of 1950. North Korean forces had already invaded the South Korean border, and Teddy Chandler and the 35th Infantry Regiment were thrown into the worst of it right away. By November, his company lost ground along the bank of the Chongchong River. Eventually, their lines of defense failed. It was the worst loss of American lives in the Korean War. Very few survived. Back at home, his mother, Mary, held on to hope.
She looked so much forward to thinking that he would make it back. He would come home one day.
At first, Teddy was reported missing in action, but then presumed dead. His body never found.
She passed away and never knew about it. And she always thought that she would find out something about it.
But she didn't.
No, she didn't.
Time is also running out on Joe. He's 89, the last survivor of 7 children who grew up with Teddy. After all this time with no answers, Joe wonders if his brother, who served in what's often called the Forgotten War, was himself forgotten.
I feel that they did go over there and try, but they got what they could get and bring back, but then they just quit.
That was over 12 years ago, the last time Joe heard from a group searching for Teddy. And while the process of recovering remains is still very slow, it's improving. Here at the new Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency in Hawaii, the largest forensic anthropology lab in the world, researchers sift through remains of missing service members, using DNA to match and return them to loved ones. This process also depends on the relationship between our country and the host country. In Teddy's case, we're talking about North Korea, which up until recently has been very cold.
Thank you.
But now that appears to be changing.
We got back our great fallen heroes.
A recent agreement between the United States and North Korea cleared the way to return more remains of American troops. Do you have hope?
Yeah.
For Joe Chandler, that news, after all these years
Makes you
of tears,
sad.
could finally help bring closure.
But, you know, it is something that you always look forward to, and it, you know, to bring him home and put him away.
And make sure he is not forgotten as they sit and wait. And now
I pray for him every night.
pray.
I know God can do anything. And if it's meant to be, I believe he will bring him
back to his family.
We just have to wait and see.
And Joe.
I can just tell him how much I missed him.
To give a formal goodbye his little brother and hero, Teddy, deserves.